just because I'm on the... There's a lot of people, 50, I feel like he don't have to say nothing, but 50's crazy. He's been like this his whole life. When he's on the block, oh shit, 50's coming.
Buzzbuster is back. Don't forget to subscribe. When 50 Cent's documentary was first announced, most viewers assumed it would center entirely on Diddy. That was the expectation from the start. Once the series actually arrived, though, the spotlight shifted almost immediately. Rather than staying focused on Diddy alone, online chatter began pulling attention toward older rumors and long-circulating claims involving both Diddy and Jay-Z. Suddenly, the discussion was no longer about one person. A different name kept resurfacing across social media posts, blogs, and comment threads: Caddy White. According to claims repeated online, Caddy White was allegedly involved in a private relationship with Jay-Z. Those same posts also suggested she may have been getting ready to speak publicly before her unexpected death. That's the detail that intensified the conversation and pushed the story into overdrive.
Listen to the music to understand that there's a problem getting ready to take place.
Are you and Game, you think your relationship is repairable?
I don't know what really caused it, Big.
What really fueled the speculation was the timeline being shared across the internet. Based on those online claims, she reportedly died less than a day later. Whether proven or not, that sequence alone was enough to send social media users into full investigation mode, with people dissecting old posts, revisiting rumors, and trying to connect events from years ago. Very quickly, the tone of the conversation changed. In the beginning, most people were simply wondering whether Jay-Z had any knowledge of Diddy's situation. Before long, those questions became much broader and far more loaded. Now people online are asking something much bigger. How many stories from that era may have been overlooked, dismissed, or quietly pushed aside before social media made it harder for any single version of events to dominate the narrative?
With the series, with the film.
I mean, I think the intention is to give a more full-bodied experience to what happened, you know, from the people that agreed to sit down and to participate. And I feel like the film asks a lot of questions, you know, maybe more questions are asked than answered.
Take a moment, because this story escalated almost overnight. The documentary didn't just perform well on Netflix, it surged all the way to the platform's top spot, and within moments, the spotlight began drifting toward Jay-Z too. What made the reaction even more intense was the timing. This arrived in the wake of the Diddy conviction, the Homeland Security raids, and the CNN hotel video that had already deeply influenced public opinion. By then, audiences were primed for another major celebrity controversy, especially whenever famous and powerful names entered the conversation. As a result, online claims spread at remarkable speed. Across social media, some users have been arguing that Jay-Z may have been more closely tied to these events than many people first assumed. Whether those posts are accurate or not, the volume of discussion has been impossible to ignore. One name that keeps resurfacing is Caddy White. Her case gets pulled back into public discussion again and again, almost every few months. Internet speculation has claimed she was preparing to speak out publicly. Separate rumors also suggested she may have been pregnant at the time. Later, officials said her death was caused by an aneurysm. Even with that official explanation, the questions and theories never completely faded away. Instead, they continued circulating online, waiting for the next big moment to return. Now, with this documentary reaching such a massive audience, those same conversations have been pushed back into the center of public attention.
That's not really beef, though. That's just competitive.
Competitiveness.
You know? All right, so you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him.
Okay, damn, all right. I didn't know what that meant. All right.
At this point, the issue goes beyond whether every allegation is true. The bigger question is why so many people seem ready to believe there is more happening behind the scenes whenever these names come up.
All at once, people are starting to challenge stories they once let slide without a second thought. What used to feel protected by fame and influence no longer looks nearly as secure. Years ago, criticizing someone like Jay-Z on a major public stage seemed almost unthinkable. Large media companies handled coverage carefully, publicists shaped the narrative, and there were frequent claims that legal pressure helped keep certain voices quiet. These days, though, that shield appears far less solid. This documentary did not create the pressure by itself. It arrived after a long chain of events had already pushed public attention in a very different direction. Diddy is already in federal prison. The raids were carried out in full public view, and clips from those moments spread across the internet almost instantly. After that, more accusations and more lawsuits continued piling up, keeping the story in front of everyone. At the same time, 50 Cent is being viewed differently now. For years, plenty of people dismissed his comments as attention-seeking or just another round of trolling. Today, some viewers are revisiting those same remarks and hearing something else entirely. His repeated claims that he kept his distance from certain circles and from certain rooms in particular are suddenly landing with much more weight. He said back then that the atmosphere around those spaces never felt right to him. Previously, many people laughed those warnings off and moved on. Now, old interviews are being replayed with fresh eyes and a completely different attitude. That is the real change people keep pointing to. It is not just the documentary. It is the fact that the public mood has shifted.
Obviously, just starting out his time, well, not just starting out, but starting out his official sentence since being sentenced not too long ago. And I think suffice to say, it's not going well so far.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's got 4 years and change that he's going to ultimately have to serve, although he has served already a year as he awaited his trial and then went through his trial.
And stories once ignored are now being examined much more seriously.
To a lot of people watching this unfold, 50 Cent doesn't come across as someone stirring up headlines anymore. Instead, he looks like the one person who kept sounding the alarm in public while much of the industry stayed silent and carried on as if nothing was wrong. That shift is a big reason this story keeps gaining traction online. Every new rumor, every accusation, and every old clip gets pulled apart across social media, keeping the spotlight firmly in place. At the same time, Jay-Z has been collecting major courtroom victories. One of the biggest developments involved the Jane Doe lawsuit that named him alongside Diddy over an alleged incident involving a minor at an MTV Video Music Awards afterparty. That case was dismissed with prejudice, which is a major legal distinction because it means the same claim cannot simply be brought back again in the future. His attorneys quickly framed that outcome as a total win. In their view, the dismissal showed the allegations never had a valid basis to begin with. Even with that legal result, the online conversation didn't fade. If anything, it kept growing. The case may have been dropped, but the public debate stayed alive, with people continuing to question what really happened and why the situation became so explosive. Later, the accuser said she stepped away from the lawsuit because she felt deeply overwhelmed, scared, and under intense pressure. In her account, individuals she believed were tied to Jay-Z's legal team approached her near her home and tried to get her to sign documents stating that the allegations were untrue. She said she would not sign them. So while the court outcome gave Jay-Z a significant legal victory, the broader controversy never truly disappeared. Online, the story kept moving. Here's where things take a surprising turn. The lawsuit may be finished, yet the argument surrounding it is far from over. In fact, that disconnect is exactly why this story keeps exploding across the internet. A courtroom runs on documents, proof.
Never before seen footage of the days leading up to his arrest. Can you just talk a little bit about, was there anything that surprised you from that footage?
The footage, well, I mean, I think it's rare to find someone who's being, talked about all over the country. All eyes were on him, so to speak. And it was really interesting to see his last days of freedom.
And strict legal rules. Online, none of that guarantees closure. Public reaction is driven by feeling, doubt, and the way people interpret what they see. Because of that, a result that looks final in legal terms can still leave the public asking larger questions. Instead of ending the conversation, the official outcome has almost created two separate realities, one inside the legal system and another across social media. Right now, those two worlds seem to be moving even farther apart, and that growing divide is fueling even more attention. Just when it seemed the situation could not get any stranger, Another claim added a new layer of controversy. The accuser said that two individuals approached her and allegedly presented themselves as investigators connected to one of Jay-Z's attorneys. According to her version of events, they questioned her about whether her lawyer, Tony Busby, had pushed her into making false claims or offered money in exchange for doing so. She said that did not happen. At the same time, she claimed the encounter deeply unsettled her, especially because her identity was meant to remain shielded through the court process. If that account is accurate, it raises obvious concerns about how protected she believed she was. Jay-Z, meanwhile, has made it clear he is not stepping back. From the beginning, he has responded through the courts and continued to push back forcefully. His legal response includes defamation claims against the accuser.
Very ominous signs for him, although interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence.
Along with separate action aimed at attorney Tony Busby.
The story is now being linked to alleged extortion claims, and Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, has forcefully dismissed the entire thing as fake, calling it a setup and a money-driven attack. On paper, that kind of hard-edged legal push is meant to stop the damage quickly and protect a public figure's reputation. Online, though, the reaction has gone in a very different direction. Instead of calming the noise, the aggressive response has led some social media users to believe the goal is to silence the discussion completely. In an earlier era, a strong denial and swift legal pressure might have ended the rumors before they grew. Today, especially after years of high-profile celebrity controversies, many people don't see it that way at all. For some viewers, the sharper the defense sounds, the more it raises suspicion. They start asking why the reaction feels so forceful. Why does everything seem so charged? Once those doubts hit social platforms, they spread at incredible speed and take on a life of their own. Stepping back, the focus of the public conversation appears to be shifting. It's no longer centered only on whether Jane Doe's allegations were accurate or not. Increasingly, the attention is moving towards something much broader. How close Jay-Z and Diddy may have actually been away from the spotlight. That's the question pulling people in now. What's fueling it even more is that the people commenting on that relationship aren't framing it as a casual industry connection or a surface-level friendship between two major artists who occasionally crossed paths at award shows. Gene Deal, a longtime figure connected to Diddy's inner circle. For years, Gene Deal has put stories out in public that many viewers online simply cannot brush aside. In his telling, the connection between Diddy and Jay-Z was far more personal behind closed doors than fans were ever led to believe. Several of the moments he described quickly became the kind of clips people replay and analyze from every angle. One account that drew immediate attention involved claims that the two were around the same women at the same time. Another detail pushed the conversation even further. Deal pointed to an older Atlanta concert where Diddy was said to have stepped onto the stage, tapped Jay-Z on the backside, and told the audience that nobody on earth could use his real name except Sean Carter. To plenty of people watching, that does not come across like a relationship built only on business deals, industry meetings, or professional strategy. Instead, it suggests something much closer, more familiar, and deeply rooted over a long stretch of time. The image being painted is of two powerful figures who were not just occasionally connected, but socially linked in a way that looked consistent for years. That is exactly why comments from people like Gene Deal continue to spread online. Once that level of closeness enters the discussion, many observers start asking the same uncomfortable question. If the bond was truly that strong for that long, how believable is it that one person had no awareness at all of the other's private world or the controversy surrounding it? From there, the conversation tends to swing right back to the Katie White rumors, because if these insider accounts hold any weight, they only add more fuel to a story that many people feel is still far from settled. If even part of it is true, the reaction online shifts instantly. People stop gossiping and start asking much harder questions about who was aware of what and exactly when they knew it.
Across social media, the claims being shared are intense and highly charged. One widespread theory alleges that Katie White had a private connection with Jay-Z, was getting ready to speak out publicly, and then passed away in a very short span of time. Those rumors were already spreading fast, but 50 Cent's documentary pushed the conversation into another level entirely. One moment in the series especially sent the internet into a frenzy. In that section, 50 brings up claims that Diddy was allegedly in Las Vegas at Tao with a woman named Claudia during that same general period. Rather than carefully sidestepping the speculation, he looks directly into the camera and throws out a blunt question to Diddy. Was it really an aneurysm, or was the coroner paid off? That statement landed online with enormous force. There was nothing subtle about how he said it. His delivery felt like someone finally voicing suspicions that had been building for a long time, only now doing it with cameras recording every second. From that point on, the tone of the entire discussion changed. What had been rumor and scattered speculation suddenly became a much bigger online debate. Clips from the documentary spread everywhere almost immediately. Users began reposting older footage nonstop, stitching together past interviews, resurfacing forgotten moments, and trying to connect details that had previously gone unnoticed. Very quickly, the conversation stopped being just another passing headline and turned into something the internet could not stop dissecting. Montages showing Jay-Z and Diddy celebrating together are spreading everywhere online. In clip after clip, they're seen smiling at major events, delivering remarks, and appearing shoulder to shoulder at clubs and high-profile industry gatherings. Creators have layered those videos with ominous music, dramatic edits, and conspiracy-style commentary that pushes the speculation even further. What stands out most is how sharply the conversation has shifted. Earlier, many people framed it as a question, wondering whether anything unusual might be going on. Now, a growing number of voices are treating those images, past moments, and timing as if they point to something bigger. That change in public mood is exactly what can put a celebrity's reputation at serious risk. Court outcomes and online opinion are not the same thing. The internet rarely waits for firm proof or a full legal process to play out. Instead, people react to recurring headlines, awkward timelines, emotional testimony, resurfaced footage, and what they believe are meaningful connections between old and new stories. At this point, plenty of viewers feel like they're not just seeing isolated incidents. To them, it looks like a larger pattern, and that perception is driving the discussion. A lawsuit that was dropped, but still dominates debate. An accuser who said she felt intense pressure. A long history of public closeness with Diddy, and now a documentary reviving attention around rumors many assumed had faded away. When all of those elements are placed side by side, the public image surrounding Jay-Z can begin to shift fast. Fair or not, once that narrative takes hold online, it becomes incredibly difficult to control. What's unfolding online has people fixated for one reason above all. It's not just the accusations grabbing attention, it's the reaction, or more accurately, the lack of one. Right now, hardly any major stars are stepping forward to publicly back Jay-Z. Just the striking, powerful executives and industry figures aren't filling social media with messages of support either. That kind of quiet never goes unnoticed. Whenever the entertainment world suddenly stops talking, the internet starts searching for meaning in the silence. Normally, the people who are quickest to defend massive celebrity reputations move fast and speak loudly. This time, many of those familiar voices seem unusually absent. In today's online culture, silence no longer reads as neutral. For a lot of viewers, it immediately raises questions. Many assume that fear may be part of the equation. Some believe certain people might know more than they are willing to say in public. Others think many simply do not want to risk being pulled into the controversy themselves. That is often how stories like this gain momentum online. It usually begins with whispers in smaller spaces. Before long, supposed insiders start making vague remarks. Next, a high-profile interview or documentary appears and shifts everything into a bigger spotlight. Suddenly, people begin acting as if they saw the signs all along. Audiences have seen this pattern repeat itself too many times around powerful public figures. Because of that, the warning signs feel familiar now. When the same sequence starts playing out again, suspicion builds almost instantly. For many watching from the outside, the silence is no longer just silence. It becomes part of the story. New details keep surfacing, and that's exactly why the unusually quiet public response around Jay-Z has become a story in its own right. Across social media, many people don't see that silence as harmless or accidental. In their eyes, it looks deliberate. It looks measured. Once that idea takes hold, Every absent comment and every celebrity choosing not to speak gets folded into the narrative as if it means something bigger.
That is where things become especially complicated for any public figure caught in a controversy of this scale. Even if Jay-Z keeps securing favorable rulings in court, that alone may not be enough to wipe away what millions of viewers already saw, screen recorded, shared, and argued over after the documentary came out. Public opinion moved fast once that release landed, and reversing that kind of momentum is never simple. At this point, the situation sits in a strange place. Legally, Jay-Z seems to be standing on firmer ground than he was a few months ago. No criminal charges currently connect him to Diddy's legal issues. On top of that, his legal team has forcefully pushed back against the allegations and has also filed defamation-related claims. Still, none of that has fully cooled the attention. Interest online remains intense, and the same doubts continue circulating from one post to the next. People are still asking questions. They are still revisiting old clips. They are still trying to figure out whether the silence means nothing at all or whether it says more than anyone is willing to admit. That tension is why the story has not faded. If anything, the lack of clear public backing has only made the conversation louder. Was he far more involved in these situations than he ever let the public see? Did he have access to details that most people still do not know? Some are even wondering whether his connection to Diddy was much more complicated behind closed doors than fans believed for years. At the same time, Katie White is no longer being treated like a minor name lost in online chatter. Her name has moved to the center of some of the most unsettling speculation tied to this entire story. Every time the public feels like direct answers are missing, that silence seems to create even more doubt.
If 50 Cent releases additional footage or more interviews, or if Diddy chooses to answer these questions publicly in a detailed way, the situation could grow far beyond where it stands now. What makes this even more striking is what it suggests for the people who once carried themselves as if nothing could ever touch them. Diddy is not reportedly cut off from the world in some hidden, ultra-restrictive prison with no communication at all. According to reports, he is being held at a lower security federal facility in New Jersey, a place where attorneys can still meet with him on a regular basis. Because of that, discussions are still happening. Messages are still being shared. Information is still moving quietly, both behind the scenes and within the federal prison system. At this stage, the thing with the most power is no longer celebrity, wealth, or status. What matters most now is information. That is where the real leverage appears to be. And according to the claims surrounding this case, Diddy has allegedly spent decades operating in environments where knowing the right details could change everything. He has spent decades inside some of the most powerful spaces in entertainment. That means he understands how the business works, how influence moves, and which people were present around key moments. Over the years, he would have seen who was linked to whom, socially, professionally, and behind the scenes. A person with that kind of long-term access quickly becomes valuable if prosecutors ever try to understand the larger system around certain alleged situations. That is exactly why so many people online seem uneasy right now. The moment investigators suspect someone may hold important information, talk of cooperation can become a serious possibility.
Everything changes once a person is already convicted and staring at major consequences. At that point, the option of helping authorities can start to look a lot more appealing. Many people believe that is often how federal cases unfold out of public view. Investigators are rarely focused only on one individual. They usually want the wider network, the more influential names, and a clearer explanation of how certain environments may have functioned. Now consider someone who has been around celebrities, top executives, exclusive gatherings, and private industry circles for roughly 30 years. Naturally, the public starts to assume that person may know far more than has ever been revealed. Not rumors, not random internet theories, real first-hand knowledge from rooms most people never get near. If Diddy ever decided that cooperating was the best path for his own future, this entire story could shift fast and dramatically. Suddenly, the spotlight would not stay on just one person. It could expand outward in a way that makes a lot of familiar names very uncomfortable, especially those who have spent years trying to put distance between themselves and anything connected to this world. Some people may think they finally escaped the spotlight, only to find themselves dragged straight back into the center of it. That's especially true for anyone who has spent months pushing back on accusations, rejecting speculation, and trying to appear completely separate from the turmoil surrounding the case. Once details like this start circulating, carefully worded statements and legal responses often stop shaping public opinion. Viewers tend to remember the unsettling pieces that linger after the documentary is over, the moments that raise bigger questions than they answer. Those details suggest a level of strain, uncertainty, and emotional pressure that stands in sharp contrast to the polished celebrity image many people once associated with red carpets, television appearances, and high-profile parties. Even the verdict seemed to reflect that uncertainty. Diddy was found guilty on some charges, yet he was not convicted on the most serious allegations. Outcomes like that rarely leave the public feeling satisfied or settled. More often, they open the door to even more speculation, possible appeals, non-stop debate across social media, and renewed arguments over whether the complete story ever truly came out. Adding to the mystery, online rumors claimed she was getting ready to speak publicly. Separate speculation also suggested she may have been pregnant. According to the timeline being debated online, her death then followed within about a day, which only intensified public suspicion and confusion. Publicly, the official explanation has not changed, but that has done little to quiet the conversation. If anything, the unanswered questions have kept interest alive, with many people still wondering whether the full picture has ever really been revealed. Even so, plenty of online voices never let those gaps in the timeline go. For them, the mystery didn't end just because a courtroom delivered a result. Legal wins and filed lawsuits can settle part of the story, yet they rarely wipe away public doubt once it takes hold.
Public opinion changes in waves. The courts, by contrast, move with caution and take time. Online spaces don't work that way. They react instantly, fueled by emotion, constant updates, and non-stop debate. Many people on the internet have already decided where they stand, not because of one definitive detail, but because, in their view, too many odd pieces keep piling up to ignore. At the same time, 50 Cent continues to tease that more is still on the way. He keeps suggesting there are additional interviews, unseen footage, and private behind-the-scenes details that the public still hasn't heard. That's a major reason the documentary didn't feel like the final chapter for so many viewers. Instead, it landed like the opening scene of something far bigger. Every few weeks, the conversation reignites. An old clip starts circulating again, someone with supposed insider knowledge suddenly speaks up. A familiar timeline gets pulled apart once more and analyzed from a completely new perspective. The story never seems to stay still for long. Diddy may currently be in prison, but the fight around his case is far from over. His legal team is still pushing back, and the possibility of appeals remains in the background. On top of that, talk of a pardon hasn't gone away, which leaves one massive question hanging over everything. What exactly is still waiting to come out? Suppose Diddy catches a break in court, overturns something on appeal, or decides cooperating is the best path forward. In that situation, does anyone really expect him to keep everything to himself after everything that has happened? If he ever begins speaking openly and laying out the full story, the biggest fallout may hit the very person who has worked hardest to look completely removed from the entire controversy. One move could shift the spotlight in a major way.
Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're following every twist in this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more updates and deep dives as new details continue to emerge.